Oh, hello, this is Chris Fairbanks from the wildly popular podcast Do You Need a Ride with a very special announcement. This is good news. Don Sill Show, Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up from the Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, New York. I believe I'm saying that right. It's a show that they do in an alley behind Comedy Club. Governor's Comedy Club, I believe, which is why it's GOVS radio show. Anyway, this just in, the show itself and the information it provides has proven to prevent COVID. The only thing people have been doing is wearing these N93 masks, which if you wear them too much, the virus can connect to that. The great thing about this show is through the airwaves, it will enter your ears and into your face where the virus resides in the nasal passage. You see the ears are nearby, and the sound waves have known themselves to break. They know themselves that they will break up the virus and send it right out your nostrils. So you can infect other people, but it will relieve you of the virus. So it's great news. Be sure and spread the word. I don't know that any scientists have backed this up.
Another one.
See the people walking down the street, earbuds in, you know they're listening to GOVS Comedy Club Radio. Oh, but why just audio? Cause we on TV, we on TV, we on TV. Yeah, we on TV. We on TV.
Any minute now.
Obsessed with me. Carol, God damn it, you missed that on it again. She is not a stupid woman. She makes everybody else do her dirty work.
In these trying times, Pepsi is here for you.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up right here on GovsRadio.com, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Boxcast. And like my good friend Ken Pichelle always says, we on TV. And yes, indeed, we are, folks. I'm your host, Don Sill. We got a great show for you today. It's the day after Election Day. This is crazy. We may or may not have a president right now. We don't know what's happening. We don't know, but it is exciting times. We also have Joe MATARESE on the show today, and as always, my good buddy Benny Gagooch Rizzuti. Benny, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, buddy. I'm Benny Rizzuti, and I approve this show.
This is exciting. We've been waiting for like this day, like this week, for months and months and months that this has been going on, throughout the quarantine, the pandemic, the riots, the protests, and now 2020 finally will begin to cap off with this election that just happened yesterday. Now, some people
we went from murder hornets to the murder geriatrics.
the long lines. As you know, the lines were so long as for early voting that you weren't even able to get into the early voting.
When does the poll open? Is it open yet? 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock. Till what time?
3.
10 to 3. Okay, thanks. I'll be back at 2:58.
Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't even get it. There was like a 3-mile long line. I couldn't get into the regular voting.
Wow.
I couldn't. I wound up just driving and taking a video to show everybody that I tried to vote. but
It
I
was
could.
record numbers of voters
Wow.
between the early voting, the mail-in voting, and then the people on the actual election day, like you and I had to do. And
Yes.
it was just crazy. Now, a lot of people don't realize, Benny, that we do record this show
Right.
earlier than Wednesday. So we're not live, even though
Yeah.
right now
Right.
we're in the chat. So if you're in the chat, Benny, say hello, and then I'll say hello, so people know that we are with them. We are live, but
Okay. Yeah.
this show right now we're filming this. It's Monday night, but tomorrow is election day. But when everybody watches this, yesterday was election day. So Benny, I say that you and I pretend that it's Wednesday,
Yeah.
and
Okay. Yeah.
and
It's Wednesday. I'm good with that.
all right, cool. So it's
Hump day.
Wednesday. The election happened. We already kind of know the stats. We know the poll.
Yeah.
We know the numbers of votes. It's almost a clear cut case. We're still waiting for the mail-ins. What do you? What were you most surprised about yesterday?
I never expected Pedro to win.
If you vote for me, all of your wildest dreams will come true.
People have to get out and vote, and as we saw yesterday, record turnouts. I can't
Record
believe the
turnout.
write-in votes for Pedro. He really was a spoiler. He came out of nowhere. The
I know. And
the Hispanic
he-
vote is
yeah.
strong.
There you go.
We didn't realize that Pedro was working the silent majority, the silent majority.
Pedro.
I was also happy to see that yesterday there was no protests, there was no riots.
Yes.
Everyone was holding hands and singing in unison. It was like a Coca-Cola commercial.
To teach the world to sing with me. Perfect harmony. I like to ride the world.
Yeah. It's a real thing.
They all
Yeah.
holding
Just like
hands.
the flower children
Yeah.
of the 60s. Yeah. They
It was
Well, I always felt that I liked that the first debate, even though they were at each other's throats, at the end they held hands and sang, "I'll be your Dixie chicken if you be my Tennessee lamb."
I just have one thing to say.
We can walk together down in Dixieland.
You
I
know
thought
that
that was very nice of them.
when people there's a thin line between love and hate, and I think deep down inside those two old guys love each other.
80 million. That's how many people voted against me the last time out. That's how many people didn't trust me, didn't like me, didn't say, who knows.
I stayed in bed for a week and a half after they voted me out. Let's stop talking. We're about to bond. That'll make me vomit.
Oh, why don't you go to hell?
The country, we need to be unified. We need so if this is what got us together is the voting, don't be bitter after. Don't be bitter. Protesting isn't going, if you're protesting your own country, you're cutting your nose off to spite your face.
I think if they riot and start going crazy, I think that with something with this kind of division in the country, no matter who wins, the other side is going to be very upset. It's I just hope that after that they are able to heal from this, that we can come together and find some kind of middle ground. There has to be.
I agree. I really, that's what I want. I want unity. I want to work on the problems in this country.
Yeah.
And let's fix this country. Let's fix America.
I think Pedro can do it.
Thanks. If I win, you could be my secretary or something.
Hey, thanks, Pedro. That would be so awesome. I would love to be your running mate.
I am very happy that we have such a big turnout. I'm
Yes.
surprised by the turnout of people who went to vote. Regardless of who you voted for, you actually got up out of the house during a pandemic to vote.
Election day, put our vote in. And did our duty as Americans. And we'll see what happens tonight, tomorrow, next week, next year, whenever. Peace, y'all. This election was definitely seen more important than other. I think every election is always important. It's always important who's going to be kind of the president of our country. But this one, it really seemed ideology split. It seemed like this time it's a huge difference of what the future of our country can be. Whether you have a right-wing vision or a left-wing vision, I think there's very little room in the middle on this one, but we'll see.
I don't care about making America great again, quote unquote. I want America to be a country again. Let's be a country. Let's put the us back in US. Okay, let's love each other. Let's end racism. That's what let's end racism. Let's work together on what we can do, because I don't think this virus is going away anytime soon. And you could put blame on people. You could say country that caused it isn't helping us. That's all true. That's not doing it. Let's work together. Let's work. Let's not fight together. Let's work together and put the us back in the U.S. All right? This is Benny Rizzuti. I fully approve this live video.
Hey, it's Jeffrey Gurian, and I'm out here at Governor's at the Don Sill Show. Put up, stand up, and shut up. No, put up, shut up, and stand up. I keep getting that wrong. Complicated show, very funny. Tune in, watch, great stuff. Don Sill is great, and the people he gets on are really cool. So check it out.
How you doing? It's Monty Belligerent here. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm an old guy. I know how old people think. What I'm gonna tell you is old people know what's going on. We're watching the news and we're picking stuff up immediately. We got the common sense. Yes, I put my keys in the refrigerator the other day, but we know what's going on. We don't trust the mailman. They're talking about mail-in voting. The mail is a very suspicious thing. You know how many times I get the wrong mail? Last week I got mail from the person next door. It was made out to Melissa. It was a check for $1,000. You know what I did? I cashed it. I identify as Melissa. Don't you tell me who I am. And the young person was like, okay. Because they don't know. There's 47 genders. I could be Melissa. What are you gonna do? I don't trust the mail. And this mail-in voting, where you're going to get a ballot in the mail like this, you get a ballot and you check the box, Trump or Biden. And you mail it, you sign your name. They're not checking on the other side. When I sign my name for a credit card, it doesn't look anything like my signature. It looks like a little bitty glove. It looks like I farted on the thing. Nobody's checking anything. I don't trust it. But these Democrats, they want the mail-in voting. Next thing you know, Biden's the president. And then Trump sues everybody for 6 years. That's what's going to happen. I'm Monty Belligerent. Thank you very much.
All right, you ready? What's the fastest way to get Trump to change a light bulb? Tell him Obama installed it. Jojo, you having fun yet? Jojo, I want to ask you a few questions to put you to the test.
Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying you, before you got in this program, you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not. What do you think, huh?
Hey, I've been to rehab, dude. I did the 12 steps. I did the 12 steps, Joe.
Did you watch that? Look, come on, man. I know you're trying to goad me.
Oh, no, Joe, I'm not trying to goad you at all. In fact, I'm thinking, as for a running mate, what do you think about Benny Gugu Rizzuti? I think he'd be great.
If he can't figure out the difference between an elephant and a lion, I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
He knows the difference between a lion and an elephant. Okay, he knows. I think he knows.
But I mean,
yeah, Joe. Like you seem to be in the basement a lot. I really want to get you out and get you on my show, and kind of be coming to the studio. It'll be a lot of fun. You get to hang out with Benny. And I know you like Benny, right?
There can be plenty of time. And by the way, as I joke with him, I shouldn't say it. I'm going to say something I probably shouldn't say.
No, you should say. I would love to hear what you have to say about Benny.
Anyway,
come on, tell me.
I am very willing to let the American public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness. Come on, man.
Hello there, President Donald J. Trump, the puppeteer, taking time out of my very, very busy schedule playing golf to tell you that now in these troubling times, we all need to laugh. So watch, put up, shut up, and stand up with Don and Benny on GOVS Comedy Club Radio. So many great interviews and hilarious comedy. We on TV. This is a message endorsed by me, President Donald Trump, the puppet. Great stuff. Great stuff. And I know great is Put Up, Shut Up, Stand Up. Don and Benny. They're great. What, it's still on? Go watch it. It's got the presidential seal of approval.
So we were kind of on the fence with the show, whether or not to even have a show following the day after election day, but also should we do an election show, a theme? But we decided really not to, and just kind of have a regular, normal show.
Yeah, have some laughs.
So
let's have some,
Yeah, and we got a great interview with Joe MATARESE. Do you know Joe MATARESE? He's a hilarious guy from, I think he's originally from New Jersey. He lives upstate New York. No, I think he lives in Connecticut now. He has a one-man show. Hilarious, man.
Oh, no, I don't know him, and I'm really interested to see him.
Yes.
So.
Well, here he is. Here's the interview with Joe MATARESE. Check it out, everybody. I think you're going to like it.
Now, my dad would get pissed if he heard me say this, but my dad and I, we're not really Italians. I'm not like, I'm not. I know like 12 guys that own pizza shops. They don't even say hello. They just go.
All right, everybody. My next guest is a veteran stand-up comedian who has been in the game since he was 19 years old. He's been on everything from The Late Show with David Letterman to America's Got Talent. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Joe MATARESE. Joe, how you doing, man? How's everything?
I'm good, Don. Great. I feel like saying great to be back, but I've never been on, and I'm not even sure if I've ever met you before or know you.
I think we may have met in passing at like the Cellar or something like that, as me as a spectator, as a fan, and you as the artist there. I probably saw you out in the street a few times.
Maybe. I'm one of those comedians that I'll say no to like every comedian that'll ask me to do their podcast, but then every once in a while I'm like, yeah, yes. It's weird. And I know that must be true for a lot of comics, because I can remember asking a million comedians to do my podcast, and sometimes they say yeah, and they just don't get back to you.
Right.
Yeah. Then you got the just flat out no, and then you got the flat out not email you back. They just like ghost you. So
yeah, that happens from time to time, but I'm honored that you said yes to us, and you've taken the time to be on our show. It definitely means a lot.
You did something right. In the way you asked, whatever you did, do it every time. Because for some reason I was like, this Don Sill guy seems like a good guy. I'm going to say it.
Well, awesome, man.
Hold on, my space heater just went off.
Okay, cool.
Holy shit! Yeah, I'm in my third floor right now, and unless we make it 90 on the first floor, it's
freeze up there.
Yeah.
So how have you been doing? Like, during these times, these last like 7 months, you've been working on the one man show and just doing stuff, or how's the family life? Catching up on with the family? What's been going on?
Well, I guess I don't know. Have you been interviewing a lot of comedians? Is this like a once a week or once a month or what?
We do this weekly, pretty much. Yeah. So
You always have and you always have comedians on?
yeah, yep. We
Okay.
yeah, because we're based out of Governor's Comedy Club. Have you ever worked Govs out on Long Island?
Sure, sure.
Yeah. It's a fun club. So we've been, we usually have a studio in the back of Governor's, right across from the green room. There's a
I
studio.
saw it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw it. I wasn't there that long ago, so I saw it when it was back there.
That might be when I saw you last, when you performed there, perhaps, in the hallway there. I might have said hello to you, but
Yeah.
uh, but yeah. So we normally in that studio there. We have the glass walls and everything. You see us in there. That's where we normally have our show. But now with COVID, everything's shut down. We're not in there. They're actually renovating the studio in the downtime, taking advantage of it. So, but yeah, we always have comics on. And in the beginning of this COVID interviewing comics, it was like a lot of comedians looked at it as a blessing in a way that they could stay back with their families, get reacquainted with their wives and their children and stuff. But then in the middle of it, I would say a lot of them started getting anxious and chewing at the bit, wanting to get out there. And now, there have been clubs have been opening and closing, and there's some states they are better than others in that regard. So comics are now, going where the work is, and all that kind of stuff. And there's backyard shows, rooftop shows.
Yeah.
You know.
I definitely I get the vibe what you're saying, because I can imagine you're a Long Island based stand up comic, so that's like the suburbs, and I'm in New Rochelle, which is the suburbs also of New York City. So you and I are probably, Blake, I don't know where you are in Long Island. I'm about 20 minutes north of the GW Bridge. So when I do the comedy clubs that are on the Upper West Side of New York City, it's only a 25 minute drive, right?
Nice.
So I'm a guy with a wife and a kids and a house and all that kind of stuff. So I think us comedians liked the COVID, especially at first, because like you said, if there's anything about the job of being a comedian where you go, what sucks about it? I think almost all comedians would say traveling. We don't like.
Right.
There's rarely a guy who goes, I love going to the airport. That's my favorite thing. Like,
Yeah.
we don't like that. We don't like leaving our wife and kids for a while. But the New York City comedians, they usually don't have wives and kids. There are a lot of the more younger single comedians. So they got hit hard. When you didn't have a wife or kids and you're just home alone in an apartment in New York City, I bet you really sit there and go, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why am I doing this with my life?
Yeah,
Right?
and for a lot of those guys too, they're living, show by show, week to week, paycheck by paycheck, and now it's not coming in, and they got that burden as well. So it got heavy, man. It can get pretty heavy out there.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still liking it. I think because I've been doing it so long. When you said 19 years old, I mean, do the math. I'm 53. So when you've been doing something that long and then someone gives you an opportunity to just kind of like sit at home and like figure out what do you want to work on? Do you want to start a new podcast? Do you want to go crazy with your social media? Do you want to write a screenplay? Like, I guess a lot of comedians have been making jokes like, you better be getting something done during this or you're going to really regret it later.
Right. Yeah. Like a lot of comics, like you said, they're either refreshing up their acts or writing books or plays or trying to get a TV deal, things like that, trying to push things that they never had time to really work on. And there's going to be a lot of those comics that when it's all done, they just slept through it all. You know what I mean? they didn't take advantage, and they're gonna regret it.
Funny, man. That's like any comedian who's ever done like a cruise ship, and you don't like to do cruise ships. Which talk about like what comedians hate traveling, and then if you mix when I did some cruise gigs in my career, and when you have to do one of those and you already don't like traveling, that's like I connect it with imagine you know the feeling of when you get on, you go up in an airplane and you can't wait to land, and when you land, you feel so good. You're like, I made it, all right. You're going to the hotel, yeah. Like when I was on a cruise and it was like 8 days long, it felt like I was in the air on an airplane for 8 days. Like that's what it felt like to me. So,
Yeah.
geez.
And we had a comedian, Kristen Key, who was on one of those cruise ships that remember in the beginning of COVID, they wouldn't let that one cruise off the. She was on that.
And then I was on the Grand Princess cruise ship that got stuck off the coast of San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my quarantine started a month before everybody else's started.
Imagine that, and they won't. It's not like you could walk around the ship. You're stuck in your little room there.
Right, you had to stay in your room. Oh, it's so funny because I have like an attention problem. So I realized why I started talking about the cruise when you said there's going to be comedians that are sleeping it off.
Right.
Because when I get depressed on a cruise, I will. Well, I would drink bourbon at night, especially if it was like a rough night in the seas and you're out there. I was like drinking bourbon, and then I would sleep to try to make the days go by faster. I would just sleep. I'd sleep like 16 hours a day. And it's like what you said, not taking advantage of the opportunity, because you could get off the ship. You could go sightseeing. You could go hang gliding if you want in the Caribbean.
Yeah. And you just decided, hey, I don't want to do any of that. I'm just going to stay. I just want this day to end.
I'm trying to make it end. Like, I guess the fastest way to make a day end is kill yourself. Like, that's really quick. Probably why. Like, I remember hearing somebody talk about, there's a lot of suicides in comedy here. Like, there's just been lots of them over the years.
Yeah.
And you always go, it's never somebody whose career was kicking ass at the moment. It's like, but then I'm wrong, because if you think about Freddie Prinze, because I was watching that
he was
Comedy Store documentary, he was doing great when he killed himself.
Freddie Prinze, the co-star of Chico and the Man, was buried today in Beverly Hills.
That one always boggles my mind. Even, the whole Freddie Prinze thing. The guy was on top of the world. He was the first of that store generation to really make it, and the hit TV show. And
Looking good, looking good, looking good.
Good-looking guy, had all the dating models.
He was young. He started the same age you did, I think, like 18, 19 years old.
Probably even younger.
I come from New York. I'm one of the New York Puerto Ricans. That's why I know I don't look it, right? I got light skin, straight hair. That's from my father. From my Puerto Rican mother, I got my nose and my mustache.
And if you watch I don't know if you watched any of the documentary on Showtime.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, they said something like that he just had this really dark personality. Like, he would just talk about these dark things all the time.
It's Patty Hearst. She's guilty. I'm just waiting for the sentence. 10 days at the Memphis Hilton. Opening for Bill Cosby, probably. All of that.
Obviously, depression has nothing to do with how your career's doing.
Exactly. You look at Robin Williams, and it's a shame. Depression is real.
People want you to be a certain way, and sometimes you can't help but be depressed, or just the nature of being.
Talk about single comedians and New York and living in LA and that whole lifestyle. A friend of mine has been a Comedy Store comic for at least 15 or 20 years, and he's not really in the documentary, except I saw him in a picture in the Rogan episode. There's Joe Rogan, Bill Burr, and my friend Steve Simone.
My poor little brother Marky was so skinny. Yeah.
that when he got excited, you could actually see his heart beating in his chest. It's not a lie. He'd be like, oh, that's awesome. We're like, whoa.
So Steve just recently said he did what we're talking about with New York comics. He did it in LA. He was like, I'm leaving. This sucks. The rents are high. The place is burning down. Fuck it. I'm moving to Florida. And he just moved, you know, probably because his mom and dad are there. I mean, how long can you live away from your family? Like I was never good at it. I tried it in LA. You know, New York was easier because it was a 2-hour drive from where I grew up. So I didn't feel like I was on an island somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
As a comedian, you can't do that. It's like, well, it's starting. That's what I'm hoping that this COVID does. Because it kind of is right now, where it's made comedy a thing. You don't need to live anywhere specific to do this. You can, you know, you can just be in one spot. Like, and my wife's that way with her job. I mean, she was going in and out of New York City 5 days a week for her job. Now it looks like it's changed her whole job, where she doesn't have to drive in. And I to the point where I was like, why do we need 2 new cars?
Right.
Like, we're not going anywhere. Why do we need 2 car payments? Let's get one piece of shit. Because we're not I'm not traveling for my job anymore. I mean, I'm getting these virtual jobs now, like, you know,
Yeah,
like,
the world's changing, and I think that, you know, a lot of you know, every, I think, job has kind of started to cater to this new way, like Zoom and this type of thing. And I think that a lot of guys are on the curve, especially in comedy. Some guys resist it, just like anything else that's new or different, you know. But I do think that even after the COVID crisis is fixed, which hopefully is sooner than later, I still think that this is a new way that's going to stick. That, you know,
what makes you think that? Because I'm curious. Well, because I don't mind if it sticks. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
What would make you think if there was a vaccine and everything goes back to normal that we're going to still be doing this virtual lifestyle?
I think that people now, first of all, I think in the next couple of years, people are still going to be terrified to, even if there is a vaccine, to take off their masks and to be in crowds. I think that's going to take some time for people to have that trust back again, where, oh my God, is it okay to take the mask off? But I also think that, like you mentioned, like the convenience of it now. So, like, you know, I guess I interviewed, you know, Doug Stanhope in Arizona last week.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and so it's like you can get comedians right now. You're in New Rochelle. I'm here, and we're able to do this.
But what makes you think if it goes back to normal that it's not going to go like right back to, hey, I don't. You're saying because they've lived this and they go, oh yeah, I can do this. Like, it makes you think for radio, you know, acting has really changed, and I bailed out of the acting game, and I used to go and audition for things all the time. But when you live in the burbs and you got a wife and kids, you get lazier. You're like, I don't feel like going all. But now that you can audition on your computer in your own house, and even if you get the job, like especially voiceovers, now if you get a voiceover, you don't go there. You can record it from your house. As long as you got one of these, like we're doing right now, they can hook you into some sort of board virtually, and it sounds like you're perfectly in studio recording a TV or radio voiceover. So
that's why I think it's going to stick is because of now we've all grown with this technology. Like, you know, 7-8 months ago, we didn't know what Zoom was or any of these new things that we've learned, and now it's like, you know, so now you'll say, oh well, why should I go in to do the VO if I know that I could just do it right from here? And then the guy will, you know, the client or whatever will be like,
I'm supposed to be starting a terrestrial radio show once a week. Either this Friday, it's going to be Fridays, 5:00 drive time in Greenwich, Connecticut, with this girl that I know who lived in New Rochelle, but right when COVID hit, she sold her house because her mom was sick and lived in the Midwest, like we're saying. She was able to move there. She sold her house in like a day, right?
Yeah.
In Larchmont, New York, this little house, but in a really great area. Sold it in a day, and then was able to buy a way better house out. I don't know where I forget where she lives, if it's like Michigan or something like that. And now we're still able to do this radio thing with her being there, me being here. And she's like, I think you should go into the studio though, right? And in my head, I'm going, no, I don't want to go into this. If I can do, I go, you can, but she's like not, you know how you still got the people that aren't savvy with it?
Right. Yeah.
She's like, wait a second. How can we do it? She's like, I want to be able to see you. And if I can't see you, it might not be in sync. And I'm sitting here in my head. I'm one of these guys. You tell me something. I'm going to go on YouTube and I'm going to learn how to do it.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to make your own radio station from home. From choosing the right equipment to building your own website. Stick with us, and by the end of this video, you'll be ready to broadcast online.
I would figure this shit out, and some comedians are so not savvy with technology. That's another thing that's probably a plus. People are learning how to do this shit now. Because they have to.
It's either do or die. It's for some guys, you know.
Yeah, I've done an interview where I called another comic, because every comic has podcasting equipment now. I go, dude, record yourself on your podcasting equipment. I record myself on me while you're at your house, I'm at mine. We talk on the phone with our headphones on, but just shut the volume off so it doesn't go into the microphones. And then you email me your sound. I go, as long as we got a clap and I can sync it. And he's like, what? What? I'm like, trust me, it's going to sound like we're in a recording studio together. I got this. And it's amazing how some of these guys are like, you know, these people, you'll tell them the technology and they literally, it makes them go, no, I don't want to learn. It's hilarious. Like, why would you want to not know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does take time to figure it out and to learn it, but it's worth taking that time to figure it out. And like you said, like even right now with me and you talking on Zoom with the microphones, if you know the audio by itself sounds like we're together in the studio.
Yes, because you and I, we're smart and we're on microphone. Most of these comics, come on, they don't have mics. They're just talking in their room and it doesn't sound as good. I'm anal. I'm OCD. I always have been. I've always wanted to try to figure out, even when I go to comedy clubs, if you probably talk to comedians that I came up with, I was always the guy that was on a ladder trying to make a fucking light angle a different way. And most comics were like, I don't give a shit. And I'm like, I'm not standing there in the dark. I'm going, get me a ladder. And these clubs you go, they're like, we don't have stage lights. I'm like, I see one up there. We just got to turn it.
Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Today we're checking out how to synchronize your light show with backing tracks or with your performance at a gig.
You know, it took me years to figure out how to be that guy and not annoy somebody.
I'm going to give you 4 indicators that you might be an annoying person. And if you are, we're going to fix it.
Yeah, because now you're that guy, and you like show them the way. You're literally shining a light on issues.
You're doing my special soon? Yeah, it's about a week away.
We've come a long way with technology, and it seems like it's you know, like the Jetsons, like here we are talking like this, and you know, all the technology has gone so fast.
Morning, George, dear.
Morning, Gloria.
You know, you said you're 53. I just turned 49, so we're like the same generation, and that's what kind of makes your show, Remember Me, like remember when it makes it. We're those guys now. We're that. You know what I mean? We're the nostalgia. It's kind of crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, exit 4 off the turnpike. Give it up for Joe MATARESE.
It's funny because I only got to do it once, and then COVID hit. I did it in front of 700 people. It went great, and I was all excited about the one-man show.
No matter what I wore, I had no game. There was nothing I could do. I could look great. I could have the mullet perfect. I could have the members-only jacket. I could have the parachute pants, everything. Travel Fox sneakers, whatever it took. I could have it. Didn't matter. No game, because I couldn't dance. You had to be able to dance back then.
You know, because I use pictures and sound, and it's more like a one-man It's not a one-man show that gets serious. It's all stand-up.
Remember this? Just get out there. Oh shit, the circle!
But it's like what I call it, like the Colin Quinn type thing, where it's all stand-up, but it's got a theme.
Right, right.
It's not just jokes about this, jokes about that. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And COVID hit and shut it down. And then only recently I figured out, thank God I had filmed it that night. I filmed it with 2 cameras. And now I do a virtual version of it because once again, I went and learned, not using Zoom though. I use something else called Ecamm Live.
Hi there, I'm Adrian Salisbury and welcome to what is really the first video in a series of Ecamm Live tutorials.
Where I can stream clips from where I did perform in front of that crowd. I'm not doing the Zoom thing where I'm going to do stand-up comedy in my office. I've done it for gigs. I don't like it. I like cutting to a clip in front of a big audience for 3-4 minutes, doing jokes, and then it comes back to me like this. And it's like I'm a DJ, but I'm not playing songs. I'm playing stand-up.
Then that DJ would come on. I still remember this guy. Probably came on a mic. Remember this guy out of nowhere? Everyone clear the floor. The fuck? Everyone clear the skating surface. This next special is a couples only. It's gonna be a lady's choice.
Being in our 50s, you know, I'm on the cusp.
You're on the
yeah, I'm right there. I got, you know, I just turned 49 in August, so I got about a year left of
I got a year left.
But
then it's over, Joe.
Yeah. But I tell you what, when I turned 40, that was hard. I felt like the sand in the hourglass was over. I felt like all my dreams were done, you know. 40 was rough. I think 50 might be a little easier for me to handle. But
I was going to say, I'm at the age where I like getting older now, and I think it's because it's a lot like what's that song? Live Like You're Dying. Did you ever hear that country?
Oh yeah. Live like you would die.
He said, someday I hope you get the chance to live like you were dying.
There's something about getting older that you don't care as much because you sit there and go, oh man, like I'm not that far away from when people die, and I could die now. I could die today, and you start to live like that. It's weird. You go, I need to have a good time because it's soon. You feel really close to it when you get in your 50s. The white hair starts coming in, and you're like, oh, here it comes.
And the thing too is I still think though when we were kids, the guys in their 50s seemed or they looked a lot older than we do now. I don't know why, if it's the hormones and the food through the years or what, but I feel like our generation as a whole, you know, they always say, you know, oh, you know, 50s the new 30. You know, I think there is some truth to that because I do think that we seem to be better shape and look younger and more fit.
We definitely work out more than those. I mean, both my grandfathers died at 62. You know,
wow, God bless.
And they didn't take medicine for cholesterol. They smoked cigarettes. They drank beer. I mean, I drink a lot of beer now, so I feel like I drink probably as much as one of my grandfathers did. But I think also, think about it. They wore like suits like everywhere they went. That was like a generation of like being dressed up. That makes you look older. If you and I were wearing suits right now talking to each other, we'd look 60.
That's a good point. We still dress like I still dress like I did in like high school, pretty much jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah, we got like hoodies on. Yeah. You at least took a shower. It looks like your hair's normal. I just put it on.
Yeah, that's great.
But I it's funny because that's what's cool about doing like stand up and doing shows. Not till recently did I realize that Remember When doesn't need to be nostalgic for our generation. I was talking with Vinny Brand, who booked me at this club, and he's like, he kind of said it to me. He's like, remember when he goes, everyone has, no matter what age you are, you have something like in your past where you go, what the fuck was that? What was it doing, right? And he was making me laugh because he was saying nowadays they all get the tattoos. Like at least what we did, you could get rid of and you could cut a mullet. Like he goes, these guys are going to need laser surgery to take all those tattoos off their arms in 30 years.
Especially the kids on their faces. They went through that phase. You know?
What comes with face tats is you're pretty much signing off that you're not going to live a normal life.
You know, when I do a one-man show or something, and this is really new to me, is doing this thematic stand-up. I started liking it. I started liking watching Christopher Titus, you know, like they were doing stand-up, but it was something they were passionate about talking about. And it told a story. And I don't know, I thought it was just, it looked more fun. I was getting bored.
As soon as Journey came on, man, everything went into slow motion, didn't it?
Because I'm getting older, I think that comes into play where you start getting really connected with, fuck the money. What do I want to do?
Right.
What makes me feel really good after I get done doing the performance, you know? And that was one of the things that I liked. I was like, how can I make it more theatrical? And I was even saying this about the documentary to a friend of mine, the Showtime documentary about the Comedy Store. I said, why is it the West Coast guys take more chances? They're more theatrical. I go, is it because there's more of an acting world in Los Angeles? In New York, everybody's just fucking doing their jokes. Nobody's doing anything that's like theatrically. You know, there's a few guys now. There's the one Long Island guy, I guess, who's doing really well on social media. The Italian guy. Is it Anthony Rodia?
Oh, yeah, Anthony Rodia. Yeah.
Now look at this guy. If people, they don't look in the mirror before they leave the house. He got a turtleneck sweater. He got the turtleneck part pull over the face up to the eyes like a mask. And he got no hair on the top of the head. He look like a piece of deal that's no circumcised.
He's making these weird things. He's doing something that's kind of a little theatrical. I don't know what he does when he comes in to have to do a stand-up version of what he does on social media, because he does cartoons, right?
He does a whole bunch of stuff like his online presence, but I think it's completely different from his stand-up. He separates the two. So like he'll do all these things with his uncle, like that funny face, and he does his uncle, then he does something about his father. He does like the whole family incorporated into it, and then he does song parodies. But then when he gets on stage, he tries to go completely different. I think he still stays on the Italian theme that seems to be working for him, like Maniscalco does, and a lot of other guys do that. But I think I don't think he takes that social media stuff to the stage. I think it's two separate things for him.
Your parents ever make you go get the weapon they were gonna hit you with? And they would always lie to you, right? Always lie to you. Dad, you're gonna hit me. I swear to God, I'm not gonna hit you. You said you weren't gonna hit me. I lied.
Yeah, but he definitely talks about being Italian, even though it's not doing the cartoons, because how do you do the cartoons?
Right.
You know what else got way easier for me was writing material fast when I had a specific thing I was writing about, instead of writing about everything in my life, from being married to kids to living in the burbs to being on antidepressants. I had so many things going on in my head that I could, and then it made me write nothing. But when I was like, I just need jokes about my growing up from 1980 to like 1992. That's it. Everything that happened in that time span.
Right.
Believe it or not, that's my mullet when it was tamed. I had a long mullet at one time. And I don't know if you can see by that picture, if you look closely, it's kind of curly a little bit. It was growing out. I didn't just have a mullet. I had to step it up a few notches. I permed just the back.
From what I dressed like. And then I was like, I can use the pictures. And in my head, for some reason, and I'm the king of saying that I'm trying it for the first time when I'm on stage at the theater. As a stand-up comedian, I'm test marketing things. I'll do one joke Like, I think it would have, you know what it was? What was it? I think I did one joke about something about the clubs that we went to. I knew like all the names of all the, just saying the name of the club in the city makes people laugh without even having a joke. Like, and I also remember there was a time where we made fun of comedians because we used to say that's an easy way to get laughs. They just go up there and go, "Hey, remember the cheesesteaks at the place?" And like everybody would laugh, and there was never a joke. And they used to make fun of these comedians. They used to call them "remember when" comedians. And I was like, I'm gonna take a concept that makes people laugh without a joke, and I'm gonna write jokes, so it's gonna be even funnier. And I started to realize when I would test market it, people love remembering. They love being, they go, "Oh my God." And I was like, I was opening for Sebastian, and you watch what he does. I used to say, I don't steal jokes, but I'll steal your business ideas. And here, all the comedians do it now. They make a name for their tour, and then they just start whatever his was. Aren't you embarrassed? Or what's wrong with people? And then he's on his social media. When you give yourself a theme, it narrows things for you. So now you're like, I even realize it when I make posts. All I have to do is go, "Hey, remember blah 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 blah," and write a quick little joke and maybe show a picture or something. And now people will share their version of it, and that's the key now. Where we were saying social media and all that is there now. So if you're a comedian that doesn't have you need some sort of, it's not a secret. Who are the comedians that are blowing up? They all have big podcasts or they're big on social media.
Well, Joe, I appreciate that. Tell everybody where they could see you, follow you, and check you out.
All my social media is at the Joe Matarese. At the Joe Matarese is where you can usually find me. I think my TikTok's a little off of but check me out on TikTok too. That one's starting to kick ass. I'm starting to love TikTok.
Yes, I don't. There's certain social medias that I don't know how to use them properly, and one is TikTok, and the other one's Snapchat. Like I just don't know how to communicate.
Just the way I post everything else, I post it on TikTok.
Very cool.
I don't know. Instagram got fucked up. I feel like somebody put a hold on that unless you pay the money. But TikTok, you can still get huge numbers if the shit's funny.
Excellent, man. So good times, my friend.
Well, thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you.
Appreciate the rest.
Like a memory question, it's like you'll go person, woman, man, camera, TV. So they say person, woman, man, camera, TV. Could you repeat that?
Person, woman, man, camera.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV. That's very good.
Person, woman, cameraman.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Person, wait.
So they say person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Person, woman, man. Cheez-Its.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV. So I said
person, woman, man, camera.
You repeat that. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. So I said
man, person, woman, grab her by the pussy.
Extra points. Extra points.
Person, woman. Hold on a minute.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV. So I said
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
That's very good. Extra points. Extra points. Get it in order, you get extra points.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Good. Extra points. 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes later, they say, can you do that again? You know, if you repeat them out of order, not as good. Nope. Extra point.
Amish, Mennonite, Quaker, camera, TV.
They say, how did you do that? They say, that's amazing. I said, yeah, because I have like a good memory, because I'm cognitively there. Cognitively there. cognitively there. Cognitively, that's amazing. Cognitively there. Cognitively there. It's actually not that easy, but for me it was easy because go back to that question.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
So they say
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Could you repeat that?
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
So I said, yeah.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
That's amazing.
Person, camera, pornography, satisfaction.
All right, Benny, we're back. Joe MATARESE, funny guy, really like great dude to talk to. That was a blast.
Very enlightening. I'll tell you, I didn't know, I didn't know anything about the guy, and what a great interview, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, he was a great guy, funny dude. And hopefully when the pandemic ends, we could have him come in studio like he wants to. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like this past week, a lot of stuff happens as always. The 2020 has not been kind.
No.
But recently, Sean Connery just passed away.
I know, yes.
James Bond, the great James. He wasn't the first James Bond, but he was probably the best James Bond.
James Bond.
He was the definitive James Bond.
Yes.
When you think of James Bond, even young people who weren't around when those movies came out, they all know Sean Connery as James Bond.
Exactly.
And
You're one of the most beautiful girls I've ever seen.
Thank you, but I think my mouth is too big.
No, it's the right size.
Great actor.
Lived a great life. Great movies. Yes. He and it's a shame to see him go. Was he ever in any comedies?
I'm trying to think. There were, I think, some comedies. There was a black comedy, a satire, which I liked a long time ago, but it was one of the, I'll tell you the movie first. It was called Wrong is Right.
Take the oil well. Remember, we're taking a 3-minute commercial break. Right. Now let's kick ass.
It was one of those movies that, you ever see a movie where you thought, wow, this is great. 20 years later, you watch it and you're like, it doesn't have the same.
Yes, I know that.
All right. So it was one of those to me, but I really loved it. It was one of those. I can't think of any rip-roaring comedies he did, but
he was in some. Do you remember the weird movie he did where he was like with a leprechaun? And he had like a leprechaun in his pocket or something.
Wasn't it something like Darby O'Gill and the Little People?
That was good.
Yeah.
Michael,
What do you want?
I said I'd visit your dreams. And when I make a promise, I keep it.
Well, I've seen you. Now go away.
I would love to see Sean Connery do stand-up. Like I wonder how that would look.
So, what did the young wife say to her husband at the end of the argument? Ha! Did you get it? She got a good slap to the face. So, but seriously, folks, what did James Bond, Alan Quatermain, and Indiana Jones's father all have in common? A penis the size of a baby's arm holding a haggis.
He did have comedic moments in all of his James Bond movies.
He must have followed us.
I think he got the point.
He had comedic moments in Indiana Jones as the dad too.
Yes, as the dad. That was really good. And he had a great voice. There was so much. He was very charismatic.
Meet Felix Leiter.
Hello.
Felix, say hello to Dink.
Hi, Dink.
Dink, say goodbye to Felix. Man talk.
007. And he did get an Academy Award for The Untouchables.
He was great in
Best
that.
supporting actor in The Untouchables.
Sean Connery in The Untouchables.
I remember the crowd went wild when he got that award, just because he's Sean Connery.
He's he's just one of those people that everybody loved.
Yeah.
You know, no, you never hear anybody say, "Oh, I hate Sean Connery. He sucks." you know, just one of those guys. You don't hear that.
That gun looks more fitting for a woman.
You know much about guns, Mr. Bond?
No, I know a little about women.
Welcome to PUSUSU, love that joke wheel spinning game. There's variety, everything you want, honey, you know the names. They are the people who provide the laughter that you need. When you ache for funny, honey, we got your disease on PUSUSU. Welcome to PUSUSU, aren't you, cause it's on top. TV. That's right, we on TV.
All right, Benny, that's the show for today. A lot of fun. We have a new president, President Pedro, and we are ready.
Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Remember, everybody, to subscribe to our Facebook page, our YouTube page, IG, Instagram, all that fun stuff. Put up, shut up, stand up. Also, make sure you follow govsradio.com and all that. And just remember, a lot of good stuff you'll find on our YouTube page.
Yeah.
A lot of videos and content you have not seen before, only available on our YouTube page. So check it out.
A lot of great stuff. And
Yes,
remember,
indeed.
everybody, give each other a hug and love each other. Okay? Love each other. That's the only way that we can make America the great country it once was.
Yeah,
by
you said
love.
something really great about putting the us back in US.
Yes.
And I agree. And I think now we kind of can get a fresh start. The election is over. We can now, exhale a little bit. We'll see when the smoke clears who is our president. For all we know, there's one already declared. But for now, we're assuming that we're not going to have that the counts aren't going to all be in yet with all the mail-ins and stuff. So we won't really know for maybe a few more weeks or days. So
This wasn't the first time. So there was a time with George W. Bush.
and Gore. That was a fun long run.
That was a long run.
I
They
don't
had
want
to
to do that again.
recount.
Oh God,
They-
that's what we're in store for. That's what we're in store. But let's hope that things go a little bit smoother. That we learned from the past. But remember, no matter who you voted for, it's our president.
Yes.
And we have to respect that moving forward. Well, take care, everybody. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you next week. Peace, y'all. Oh, next week we have Emily Santosis will be on the show. Emily
cool.
Santosis, yes, a great interview with her. It's going to be terrific. So stay tuned. You're going to definitely want to watch next week for that show.
Some time in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Lean on me for won't be long, and I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride. If I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you don't let